Communities are susceptible to many types of disasters. Some, such as floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, and hurricanes, are natural, while others, such as nuclear power plant disasters and hazardous materials emergencies, are man-made. Some parts of the country will experience disasters that others will never see, like mudslides, winter storms, and volcanoes, while others, like flooding or windstorms, can strike most anywhere. When disaster strikes, emergency services personnel will respond immediately. We count on their training and equipment to handle these situations. However, depending on the impact, emergency responders may not be able to quickly get to everyone who needs help. That's where community emergency response teams come in. CERTs are trained to search for and rescue people who might be trapped, to provide basic medical assistance, to put out small fires, and to handle other small incidents before more injuries or damage occur. By using the skills and knowledge they learned in training, CERT members in a neighborhood, workplace, school, or other location can work as a team to help themselves and others until professional help arrives. That's what CERT is all about, making a difference when it is needed the most. We call it doing the greatest good for the greatest number.
Disasters are dynamic events. They can occur seemingly out of nowhere, and they can challenge a community and community members. As CERT volunteers, you are being trained to support the first responders in your community and to be strong and vigilant members of a team. In all ways, you will be challenged. But if you are prepared, you will be more successful and helpful during the event and more able to rebound easier in your own life when the crisis is over.
After a disaster occurs, the environment may be dramatically changed, chaotic, and even dangerous. Even familiar landmarks in a neighborhood may be uprooted. Roads may be washed out. Nothing is the way it was.
The disaster itself, whether it's an earthquake or a hurricane or a flood or something like that, the event is an ongoing. The event itself may stop, but the danger period doesn't. And very frequently, the hours right after a disaster are as dangerous as the disaster itself.
Many of us will be fortunate to never experience a mass casualty incident. However, if a situation occurs where there are many casualties with limited first response capability, CERT may be needed to help triage and treat victims. Mass casualty situations can be overwhelming. Do you know what to do when faced with more victims than the available resources can handle?
There were more victims than we could handle.
Since firefighters will not be able to respond immediately to all damaged areas, CERT team members train to shut off utilities and extinguish small fires before they spread. When and how to use a fire extinguisher is an important component of CERT hands-on training.
Fire out.
Fire out.
Backing out.
Backing out.
Okay, now that we've discussed the different lifts and carries, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate a few, starting first with the chair lift. What I do before I use a chair to lift any patient is check the chair to make sure that it's stable. I'll lean it forward on its front legs, lean on it, make sure there's not a lot of flex. I'll tip it back onto the back legs, same thing, check for flex in the chair. And then finally, I'll sit down in the chair and rock back just to make sure it feels stable.
So I'm going to use our gloves in terms of our personal protection with regards to assessment. This is covered in your chapters. And again, I'm going to be doing a head-to-toe survey with regards to checking for swelling, bumps, bruising, and any type of deformities. Okay, this is part of the assessment skill that will help us determine or gather any more information with regards to the injuries and extent of injuries of our patient. So with that being said, I'm going to talk my way through the process, which helps me remember, and if the person is sort of conscious or in and out, at least they know exactly what I'm going to do, okay? So I'm going to start with her head and work my way down her body. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to touch your head right now, see if I find any bumps, bruises, or deformities, any bleeding or anything like that. Every now and again, pulling my hand back to see if I find any bleeding or any fluid on my hands.
Okay, now that your cribbing's in place, you're going to prepare to lift. You always want to make sure you're going to lift in the center of the load. You don't want to lift from the end, so that way it doesn't shift an awkward way back onto the victim.
Okay.
And he calls the commands because he has the lift.
Okay.
So it's all going to be on him.
Everyone ready?
Yes. Ready.
Lifting on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one thing with the cribbing, I'm going to stop you guys for 1 second. You can't be on your knee because in case the load shifts, you need to be able to get away quick. And the other problem is, anytime you slide the cribbing in, you don't want your hands between the load and the cribbing in case it shifts. So you want to keep it on the sides so it's slided in.
Everyone ready?
Ready.
Yep. Up on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, keep your hands on the side of the cribbing again. The victim clear now?
Yes.
Community emergency response team members are trained to help themselves and others after a disaster. Until professional help arrives, CERTs work together, providing basic medical assistance, putting out small fires, searching for and rescuing people who are trapped, acting as the eyes and ears for professional responders. By doing the greatest good for the greatest number, they make a difference when it is needed the most.